Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment. And now less than, oh my God, 13 hours from the conclusion of the Tennessee Titans being the Green Bay Packers. I am here to discuss. Now, some of you will call fortunate news, but I'll still say unfortunate news because this is never a good topic. Even if you don't like the guy, even if you don't like his job performance, this is never a good topic. And by the way, the news of this broke this morning. It broke. I woke up at this morning around 7:45. It already had broken, or it broke like a little after around like 8 a.m. That's when I saw it. And wow, Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator Todd Downing was arrested last night for a DUI. He was reportedly arrested around 3:30 a.m. He was officially taken in the intake date, they call their intake time, at 4:39 a.m. to the Williamson County Sheriff's Office. For those of you that are not locals, Williamson County is a county that is just to the southern border of Davidson County, which is Nashville's actual county. It is home to Brentwood and I think some other, small cities, but mostly Brentwood. Like Williamson County, for all intents and purposes. Oh, and also Franklin. Franklin's also in Williamson County, which are two very nice cities, by the way. Very nice town, not cities, very nice towns. And that's where a lot of the Tennessee Titans players, coaches, staff live. I used to work down there, and I hope to one day maybe even have a house down there. That'd be very nice. It's a very nice place to live. But it's at least 15 minutes from the Titans facility. If you're traveling southbound on the interstate, it's at least. Now, as it comes to the DUI itself, and I don't need to harp on this too much. We're all grown adults, or at least most of us are, and we all understand, hopefully. But I will say it just because it has to be said. Drinking and driving is no joke. You should never get behind the wheel of a vehicle if you are impaired. And it's especially worse if you're Todd Downing, because the Tennessee Titans, to my knowledge, offer a free Lyft system where you can order a Lyft whenever you want and expenses will be paid. Like, you do not have to pay for it. Anytime you need a Lyft anywhere in this, like in the vicinity, you can get it, maybe even anywhere in the United States, and it will be paid for 100%. And the timing of this is also odd, though. This is the my main problem with this is because, okay, I was live after the game. I went for an hour, and I didn't get to be done with my live stream until 11:30. I assume, like, by the time they went to the locker room, and I don't think he doesn't have to do his press conference, but Vrabel does and the players do, and then they wait till everyone gets ready. That way they can take the team jet home. I'm assuming they didn't leave the runway until like midnight. That's my assumption. So I'm wondering, when did he start drinking? Now, I don't think it was during the game. People are joking that, well, he must have been drinking during the game. No wonder our play calling was much improved. I don't think he was drinking during the game. It's too long of a period, and he would have got caught. I mean, obviously, he would have got caught. So he wasn't drinking during the game. Was he drinking as soon as he went back to the locker room in celebration? Did he have a couple of celebratory drinks in the locker room before going on the team plane? Sure. And then on the team plane, I'm sure they have drinks there. Look, we saw Taylor Heineke after the Monday night game. He was drinking a Busch Light. If you look to the side, there's like a whole case of Busch Lights that he had next to him. If you drink after a win, to be honest with you, as long as it's cool with the team and the head coach, I don't care, right? It's a little late at night, in my opinion. If I'm not going anywhere at midnight, if I'm just on a plane, I might have a couple drinks, celebrate. I don't know if I'm going to get to the .008. And Todd Downing is listed at 6'1", 195. For him to get to .008 at least, right? Because it could be higher. That's just the bare minimum. From midnight Central to 3:30 when he got arrested, I mean, you have to have at least, because if you're 200 pounds, for you to get a .008, you have to have 4 drinks, 3 or 4 standard drinks. That's a beer, that's a glass of wine, that's a shot, 3 or 4 in 1 hour. And then every hour, your blood alcohol content reduces by about .015. Okay, so quick math on that. If he started it, maybe he started a little earlier, maybe he started a little later. But point blank period, he had at least 4 or 5 drinks. At least. At least. And we got to see what that BAC was. But he had at least 4 to 5 drinks, at least. And I want to see what that blood alcohol content was. And maybe others were drinking as well. Maybe they were having a little party. I don't think so. Usually coaches aren't involved at that point. Like usually the players have their section, the coaches have their section. I don't know if the other coaches were getting lit. And while this was a good win, I don't know if we should be getting this lit off of this win. If it was the AFC Championship game, if it was a Super Bowl, if it was a game to get us into the playoffs, sure. Can we beat the Packers on Thursday night? Okay, it's a good win. I'll drink a beer or 2 for that. That's all I'm drinking for that. That's just me. 4 to 5 drinks, period. At least, okay? It could be more. We're going to see the blood alcohol content. And then he decided after the plane landed, he's good to drive at least 15 minutes, probably 20. I don't know if he lives in Franklin or Brentwood or how far in the neighborhood, because they're pretty big neighborhoods. You could go from anywhere from 15 minutes, even in Brentwood, 15 to 25, 30 minutes, because the neighborhoods can really be that big. Same for Franklin. Max is probably like 35 minutes, maybe 40. Maybe. I haven't explored Franklin to the large extent of it, but that's a significant time. If you had an Uber, just use a free Lyft and get your car tomorrow, dog. And look, I get it because, hey, it's a Thursday night game. Tomorrow's Friday. You got some extra days off. Take the edge off. You had a good game. All right, whatever. Use the Lyft system. Because the problem here is I'm looking for precedent. And I can't really find it. You see, we have players that get DUIs all the time. Now, is this because there's way more players than coaches? Yeah, probably. But coaches are buttoned up. Like I was really trying to, before I went live, I was really trying to find examples of coaches that have gotten DUIs and what sort of consequences they've gotten. I haven't been able to find many. Now, Gonzaga's basketball head coach, Mark Few, a very respected head coach. He got a DUI last year, and he had the body cam footage, and it was bad because he was straight up lying to the cops. He said he didn't have any drinks. He was slurring his words. He refused to get out of the car. He refused to take a breathalyzer. He refused to do testing. It was obvious that he was drunk. It was very obvious that he got caught. I'm not sure we're ever going to see footage from this. I don't think we're ever going to see footage from this. So, all we're going to see, we're going to find out what the blood alcohol content was if they took a blood, and they're going to take a blood test. We're going to find out what he blew if they did a breathalyzer, though, and we're going to find out. Now, what is going to happen now? You can discuss whether morally what you believe there, whether or not this is indefensible, whatever. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, what I believe is going to happen. I believe that they will go ahead and suspend him now for 1 game. I believe what they might do, that's my number one belief. What they might do is they may say we need to investigate further and then wait until this goes to court, which will take a couple months, and see what happens there. Now, I will tell you, I've seen it in real life. I've seen it when it comes to a lot of celebrities. A decent amount, not many, but a decent amount. I'm not going to give a percentage to it because I don't know. I'd have to ask my lawyer friends on this, so I'd have to look it up. Decent amount of these DUI cases can get thrown out because they'll conclude, let's say if there was no, let's say like he failed a sobriety test in the officer's opinion. And then they go to the clink, to the holding facility, whatever you want to call it. It's not actual jail. Well, I guess it is jail. They go to the sheriff's office in this case. They take his blood, and then guess what? His blood was under .008. Cops made a mistake. They let him go. He had a couple drinks, but he wasn't drunk. Did he admit to drinking or not? Did they just suspect it? And then they just took him in. They test him. Turns out nothing. They throw it out. Maybe he did. Maybe he said he had a couple drinks. He passed the sobriety test. Well, if you pass the sobriety test, they can't take you in. But let's say he admitted to it, and maybe they just didn't even do a sobriety test, and they just took him in. And they shouldn't do that. They should do at least a sobriety test, and then it's thrown out. So that's why they might wait. But the problem with waiting is it takes months. The quickest it's like 2 months at least. I mean, sometimes it can even go like up to like 6 to 8 months. It can take a while. Although I think this one, I think it'd be like a couple months. They could do that. Are they going to fire him? In my opinion, no. They're not going to fire him. It's not going to happen. And I know people are going to wait with bated breath on that. It's not going to happen. I just don't believe a DUI is enough to fire him. Now, who was it that got fired for this? Oh, so the Mets general manager. Can't remember his name right now. Let me see if I can find his name again. Last year, 2021, he got fired for this. The Mets general manager, Zach Scott, got fired for this. And, well, actually, he got suspended indefinitely. And then by season's end, or I guess the season was about to start the next season, one of the two. I think the next season was about to start. And his case still not come to conclusion. In fact, let me pull up that article again to see exactly what the timeline was. So he got arrested for DWI in September 2021. And then in November, they decided to part ways with him. So right after the season, because they just wanted to move on, because the offseason was about to begin, they're like, we need a GM. We can't just keep waiting for this guy. So he was suspended on administrative leave. September, November, they decided to move on because we can't wait. The offseason's coming up. And then in January, 2 months later, he was acquitted. As the only evidence they had for him being drunk was he was asleep in his car, and they thought he was drunk. And the judge looked at the video, said, I don't think he was drunk at all. I don't see any evidence of that. They didn't have the blood on it. And then the judge acquitted him. So the Mets fired their GM for nothing over the cops doing some BS. So I don't want to completely even say that Todd Downey's on the right. Now, that's, again, more cases than not, the cops get it right. I'm not wanting people to hold their breath that the cops got it wrong here if you're a Todd Downing fan. I don't know. I mean, that's why we have due process in the United States of America. But unfortunately, when you are in these positions, in these public positions, people are going to want you to do something. So that's why I still believe they will suspend him for one game. Just that way they can save faces that they did something. But my number two possibility is that they didn't do anything and they just wait for further investigation. He might come to them and say, you know what? Yeah, honestly, this is a legitimate DUI. I'm going to plead guilty. And then they'll give him the suspension. I don't think he's going to get fired for this. I don't think so. I don't think so. Do I believe he should be fired for this? No. I don't think he should be fired for getting one DUI. I don't believe that. Unless if it was really bad, and this is not me defending drunk driving at all, by the way. Do not mistake this for me excusing drunk driving at all. But if it was just over the legal limit, 0.08, anywhere from 0.08 to 0.14, maybe 1.3. 1.4 is a little generous. Okay, it was a little over, shouldn't have done it. It's a mistake. Apparently, he's a good Christian guy. He's 42 years old, 21 years of not having any history of drunk driving. Or I guess you could say his entire life, but of the ability to actually drunk drive, or at least buy liquor and drive. Let me say that. It's a one-time thing. It's a mistake. Don't do it again. Slap on the wrist and move on. As a man, that's what I believe. The only positions in which I would disagree with that would be very high positions. Like if you're a teacher, it's a really bad look because you're with kids. Same with principals, stuff like that. That's a little closer. But if you're a football coach, football player, you're allowed to have a slap on the wrist. To me, that's just me as a man. That's not me defending DUI. That's not me defending drunk driving. I just don't think you should be fired for that. in other positions, like in my position, if my job, I don't know if they find out necessarily. If they run like checks on that, I'm not a public figure necessarily, but I think I'd be fired out too. Honestly, like as a software engineer, if I got a DUI, I think I'd be fired, and I'd be fine with that. That's why I don't do that. That's why I don't play with that. And then some of y'all jobs, I don't know, other people like doctors, lawyers, nurses. I don't know. It just depends on the profession. I think I would be fired. I don't think I'd not be able to find another job. I think it'd be difficult, but that's why you don't do it. That's why you don't play around with this stuff. So I don't think he's going to be fired. I know people are going to want for that to happen. I don't think he's going to be fired. I think it's going to be a one-game suspension, in which case I think Tim Kelly will be promoted. And I would expect that suspension be levied by the Bengals game. Now, yeah, the good thing is, I don't know if it's a good thing, but the thing is that we have 10 days, now 9, before the Bengals game. So it gives you a little more time to come to a decision here. If the Bengals, let's say we were the week of, that'd be a little more difficult to make a quick decision there. It'd be a little more on the edge, whether it be this week or the next week, but I think they'll suspend him for one game. So that's my prediction there. So with that said, we're going to answer a couple of comments, and then we're going to get at here. Again, if you want your comment read in the chat, Super Chats get priority. Add me in the chat at SportsFan Entertainment. Super Chats always get priority and are always much appreciated. As I do a very rare midday live stream, I decided to take a lunch break for this. And it worked out because there's news. You know, if there's news, I'm always down to do a lunch break and go live for a little bit. All right, we begin. Lonzo Henderson Sr. says, at Sports for Entertainment, this is God's way of Tennessee, a way out from Todd Downing's play calling. When God calls an audible, it works. Again, it's all jokes. I don't mind if y'all joke, to be honest. I'm not saying this stuff. Y'all can say whatever you want. I didn't say anything. But thank you for the comment, Alonzo Henderson. Zach Kripp, or maybe it's Kripp, but I'm going to say Kripp, says, hope the judge wants Downey out as much as we do and puts him on house arrest. Well, he's already out on bond. So he's already out on bond. I probably should have said that. He's already out on bond. It was only a $2,500 bond. So, you know, he's already out. And he was out after like 3 hours, which is usually how it goes. So, yep, that's it on that. Someone in the chat asked, they didn't at me in the chat, but they asked, Hexy said, do you have a degree in computer science? Yes, I do. And I've had one for now 3.5 years. That's what I went to school for. This I do on the side, but I do very much so enjoy it. But computer science / software engineering is my main gig. And then let's see. Casey Moore, read one more comment, says, I just hope bad headed decisions off the field don't translate to bad choices on the field. Well, people are now going to, equate the two. I mean, if you go on Twitter now, it's brutal. I mean, people are brutalizing this guy. You see his mugshot everywhere. We're going to continue to see his mugshot everywhere. So this is why you don't get arrested, people. Look, that's one of the reasons why I moved downtown, because I know me, I like to go out a little bit, and I just want to be in walking distance. I don't want to even be tempted to drink and drive. So again, people, don't drink and drive. It's not a good idea. Take the Lyft, take the Uber, and that's just a smart thing to do. All right, so with that said, that's going to do it for me here. Sports Fan Entertainment, Todd Downing, arrested for a DUI following the win over the Green Bay Packers on Thursday Night Football. We will see how they respond to this in the upcoming days. It's going to be very interesting indeed. Until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.